Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I'm always a little hesitant to talk too much about particular holidays because I know not everyone is either in the same country or perhaps celebrates holidays in the same way. But seeing as I know there are quite a few of you over in the US right now, and you may or may not be celebrating Thanksgiving, but I wanted to wish you a happy Thanksgiving if you were indeed celebrating it. While obviously we have nothing quite the same over here, I did, when I was living there for several years, I quite enjoyed just the general concept of taking a holiday where you did literally give thanks. And it's usually very common, at least where we were, where we would start thinking before you eat about why you had to give thanks for that year. I suppose a little bit like, if you had a daily journal and you, at the end of the day or at the start of the day, you genuinely started actually focusing on positive thoughts. Because, the reality is this last year has been extraordinarily difficult for a lot of people in many, many ways. For some people it's been physical. Maybe you found you were hit with COVID or with an illness, or it might just be that, but I think that for most people, even if you didn't have a physical issue, the emotional fallout is huge. Not being able to visit family for several years, particularly when you've got family in different countries. We've had several deaths in our family this year. Well, it's a little bit past the last year, but time has no meaning at the moment, it would appear. But it still had a lot of really wonderful things in this year as we went through. There's been a lot of points along the way where I found that I had more clarity, and I actually am discovering that I've got a lot more support than I've had previously. So if you have something, regardless of how big or how small to you, that you'd like to share with us there that you're thankful for this year, just pop it up there, because you start every day writing down 5 things you're grateful for. I think it's actually, even if it's not written down, just mentally remembering the good points, because I think mentally we're very focused on negativity, that we remember the bad things. That's what sticks in your head. So in order to correct that, I think you very often deliberately have to go and force yourself to remember that there's good stuff to remember too. So that's what I choose to focus on at the end of this year. Is there was a lot of things I don't want to remember, but there was enough really good things that happened that I'm happy. I'm happy for all of my lovely customers out there. You've made this year a wonderful year. You kept us going. You left us grow, and I'm exploring new and interesting things to be able to do with the business, which I'm really enjoying, because I think that the business for me has actually become an extension of my creativity. Because obviously when I started off, it was design. That design was my creative input. But the realization that I can kind of have fun with the business too. For us, I think having people that I enjoy working with in the team to be able to fire ideas back it's been a game changer here, to be honest with you, because between both Nadia and Elnora, it's a really enjoyable place to work. So yes, my newfound little team, just amazing. I've got, hi Carol, watching you in the Thanksgiving Day parade, knowing you have an American husband, so I hope I get to celebrate too. Yes, that's right, my husband is American. He's been over here for long enough now at this point that without the day off on Thursday, we usually end up deferring it. So our plan is we're deferring our Thanksgiving to Sunday. So we will have a Sunday Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings. Probably not with the pumpkin pie, because I'm not really very fond of pumpkin pie, but some variation thereof. I was going to share as well, totally, if you've got any other bits that you'd like to pop up there that I'll read out, please go ahead. But I'll also kind of go ahead and just talk about a few little things that came in the door that I'll share with you. I've got a printer next door, and we asked them if they could do shade cards for us, which are actually quite tricky to get to put together. So what we just did, we got a bunch of new images done of our different yarns, which I think is super pretty, because I'm going to thank Nadia and Laura did a lot of, got the ball rolling on these. Here's our next one. Aren't they so lovely? Where's the neck? Here we go. It's our Nua worsted, and this one is the Blosta. So all of these, we're just going to have a bunch in the back, and we can write in the yarn names and attach to the side. They won't be free, but it'll be enough to kind of cover the cost of just printing and Laura's time putting all of the yarns together and writing them in, because it's fairly time consuming, but I know that it is very nice to be able to have a nice comparison of the yarns in your hands. So we'll put those up on the website in the next few, in the next couple of, I was going to days, week, probably by next week we'll have it up. Can you step back? So my husband, can I step back so your husband can see my sweater? You've been telling you want to knit one like it. Certainly, if I've got enough space behind me. Here we go. This is Rusty Lines, but it's done in, this was Yoff version. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Blosta, or the Donegal Soft actually would be probably closest to this because it's a little heavier. So it starts in the middle of the back with a couple of stitches. You increase down each side with just the knit purl pattern, and then when you reach the full width you go ahead and you also do the front. You just cast on across the front, and then you continue down like this, and then when you come down the side you've got just decreases going here. The difference between this one and the other version, which is the orange one, it should be over there some, oh hang on, it's actually behind me, look at that. I'm never that organized. This is the other Rusty Lines version, but you can see that this is what it looks like without a neck. And one of the options I put up for this was, this was a much looser gauge, so the neck was really open, and this was the prototype. And I picked up stitches all the way around the neck opening, which is pretty straightforward because it's just 1 for 1. And then I knit, I think it was about 5 inches in stockinette stitch in the round, just long enough that it would roll down. Could it be knit in Blosta? It could definitely be knit in Blosta, yeah, because this one is really, this was the original version before I had the pattern, and it was done in a slightly heavier weight yarn, but Blosta is very close to the newer worsted, so you can follow the pattern as written in Blosta, and it's going to give you a slightly woollier version of it, but particularly if you're going to do a roll neck and have it for something for kind of a colder climate, it would work really nicely in Blosta. But it's, I like it because it's loose and it's got a swing to it. It's a little bit longer as well, you can see, but because you're knitting a top down, you can kind of keep going with whatever variations that you want as you go. And the other thing I was doing this week that I really wanted to share with you, you know what you're asking for Christmas gift. Ah, excellent. A big bag of Blosta. Santa Claus Blosta will be coming. But some of the yarn combinations that I'm thinking ahead, like always about 5 steps ahead in what I'm knitting, obviously. Can't share with you yet, but I can show you some of the different colour combinations that if you make you really happy. Our January Mystery Shawl knit along. I'm just kind of starting and working through different options on it now. But I know I'm going to be using 2 colours for it, and I've got a few upstairs. And I just thought I'd show you some of the ones that just make my heart sing. So this is the Fino, I'm trying to remember, the colour is Corsage, and this is the Aubergine Cumulus. I'll move back here. Look how absolutely perfect those 2 colours are. Because when I'm trying to combine colours, I want, like sometimes you want a really big clash. Other times you want ones that just give really good contrast and sing together. And this, interestingly, kind of does both, because it's got a nice contrast in terms of the darkness and lightness, but there's still overtones of one and the other, so they just look so pretty. But I've literally this is going to be a second version of I'm knitting, because I'm also doing it with some Blosta Light. But I've just been sitting this here on the table, and I'm like, I can't wait to knit this, because there's just some colour combinations make you happy, and this is one of them. So the other one, that when we were trying to play with ones that looks really, really pretty, this is Blosta Light in Farraga, and that's it with Rust. And again, another really pretty combination together, because a little bit of difference in the contrast, but there's tiny little flecks of kind of rusty mustard that you can barely see in the tweed that really pick up on the rust. So the two of those go nicely together. And the other ones that are a little more subtle but still work is you've got, oh hang on, I've got dust on top of this. Anyway, we've got two shades of grey here. So this one is Silver Tea Set in the Pheno, and this is Cumulus, the grey, or it might have been silver. Yeah, slate. Again, really nice together because this is kind of a light dark colour. And where are we? And here, these ones, you can see this is what I've been doing pretty much now all week, is pulling out different colour combinations and trying to see which ones look good and give the right desired effect. So this one is Water Silk, and this for a nice contrast I think is really nice. This is the teal colour of the Cumulus. If you want something really subtle, like they're nice together, but I felt it didn't give quite enough contrast. Like if you want super subtle, this is nice. But if you want a little bit of a pop, the teal with that is nice. And then for something totally different, which I know sometimes there's some people really like very bright together. It might be a bit too much. We'll see. This is Ruby Red and this is Inkwell. Also kind of fun, depending on the stitch pattern, because I find that sometimes colors that you put together like this, you go, oh, I don't know how it's going to work. But if you've got one layered on top of the other, the real big jump in both, well, the fact that you've got texture difference, because this is a nice fluffy one, but also a color contrast works very nicely. So this is the fun part of my job, getting to play with different colors. I've also got what we've been doing that I might share with you next week and just give you a quick glance behind here. I'm going to turn this around over here. This is our wall of samples. Like they were mainly before up on the shelves upstairs and things. And so what we've been trying to do in the shop here, so if you're anywhere around, come in and have a look at them, is move some of the summer samples and kind of fold them up and tuck them away on the shelves in here. And then in the rack, put together ones that'll work well with the yarns we have in the shop and that are more accessible for winter, like heavier, faster knits, things like that, that you can get knit and get on you nice and quickly. So that's what I've been up to this week. I know there's probably something I've forgotten, and if I have, I apologize, and I'll put it up in another note here at a later time, a quick video. But again, all my US customers or anyone who goes and celebrates Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to you, and have a restful day. And if you're by yourself, then treat yourself well and do all of the things you like to do, and remember all of the good things. So bye everyone.